Originally released in 2005 for the original Xbox and developed by Double Fine Productions, Psychonauts, although critically well received, did not sell well at all and was considered a bit of a commercial failure. Over the years, the game was ported to multiple platforms, greatly increasing its user base, and it began to be considered as something of a cult classic. Fast forward to 2021, the game has a sequel on the way, and the original has finally arrived to play on Game Pass. Is it worth heading back into the confines of a psychic training camp to solve nefarious goings-on? Can I get all the names of the characters right on my first take? Let's gatecrash the party and find out in this Xbox Era retro review of Psychonauts. Controlling the character of Rasputin Aquato, or Raz for short, from a third-person perspective, we arrive at Whispering Rock's psychic summer camp, rocking a cool pair of flared trousers, a satchel and red goggles, after running away from our father's circus. Being an acrobat is not for Raz at all, but training his psychic abilities in order to become a secret agent, known as a Psychonaut, is right up his alley. Following an original rejection from the Psychonaut staff, an impassioned speech from Raz gets him the chance to take part in Coach Oleander's basic training, and after performing well, he is accepted into the camp. The camp itself has many different personality types in residence, such as the tinfoil-hatted potential serial killer Dogan Boole, overconfident love interest Lily Zanotto, ubiquitous big bully Bobby Zilch, and his creepy sidekick Benny Fidelio. After exploring the camp for a while and taking part in some psychic tests carried out by a German psychonaut, Sasha 9, it becomes clear that something mysterious is afoot within the camp. Children start to show up minus their brains and with an overriding instinct to just mong out and watch television. When the camp staff also go missing, Raz is recruited by lead psychonaut Ford Cruller to find the campers' missing brains, rescue the staff and save the day. After a period of camp exploration based on jumping and climbing, you start to gain psychic abilities like levitation, which allows you to get to higher places, pyrokinesis, allowing you to clear obstacles by burning them, and invisibility, which allows you to sneak past people. The full list of abilities to be earned in the form of merit badges by completing story tasks or increasing your psi level also includes a psi blast, shield, telekinesis, clairvoyance, and confusion. 3 abilities can be mapped to your controller at any one time, but the ones you have earned are all available to swap out whenever you want to. What follows is certainly a wild ride as the game changes from a general exploration-based platformer into more of a platforming adventure puzzler hybrid. Meeting various characters throughout the story, you gain the ability to enter their minds with the aid of a small door called a psycho portal and various other equipment. After a mind has been visited once, it is possible to revisit it through what is known as the collective unconscious, which is basically a hub of mind doorways. To escape from a mind in the middle of a mission, you can use smelling salts which whisk you back into the real world. I could take some time out and explain to you how you can summon a particular character for assistance with a slice of bacon, but it's so bizarre that you really need to check it out for yourself to appreciate it. When inside the mind of someone, it is necessary to explore the area just like any platform game, but at the same time you come across different features that explain the actual mental state of the individual, and they need to be dealt with in order to return them to a more sane, stable state. Emotional baggage is found strewn around, consisting of different types of crying bags like purses, hat boxes and trunks. By reuniting these with baggage labels also found within the same mind, you're able to cheer the baggage up and clear it from the owner's thoughts. Punching memory vaults which run around people's brains causes them to open up and give you a classic View Master Reel, which is basically a slideshow detailing the character's past and what has caused their mental distress. Figments of a person's personality are liberally spaced around these levels and represent everything from a cat to an apple. Collecting these is a mainstay of the gameplay and helps to increase your psi, which in turn improves your abilities or the strength of the abilities that you have already earned. Platforming and puzzles are thrown at you within each mind as well as the need to collect figments, sort emotional baggage and open memory vaults. Enemies known as sensors will attack you regularly and need to be fought off either with a well-aimed psi blast or a psi punch, which is Raz's basic attack move. Basically, A lot is going on when you go inside someone's head. These sections tend to end in a boss battle, sometimes with a series of minor boss battles beforehand. Once you've solved the issues of the person whose mind you're exploring, you can then move on to the next person after solving various puzzles and platforming sections to get to them. The scope of these levels is literally mind-boggling. The different minds available to visit are each so different in style that they're all virtually separate minigames all on their own. Not only that, but the designers must have really been out there when they designed them. One level takes place on a massive cube which doesn't obey the law of physics at all as you run all over it doing battle. Another is set in a day-glow circular Spanish town at night, while a pink ball does laps of the street every 5 seconds, knocking you back to where you came from, and ends with 4 Mexican wrestler mini-bosses. I know this sounds weird, but it will all make sense when you play the game. Exploring the mind of a lunatic in an asylum gives you the opportunity to experience a level based around a theatre production and uncover the identity of the phantom that's been sabotaging all productions to try and ruin the career of a famous actress. This in itself is a pretty unusual concept and turns out to be a very tricky yet quite entertaining level. A personal favourite of mine was the city of Lungfishopolis in the mental world of Linda the Lungfish. Don't ask. Where you become a King Kong-like character called Goggalore and spend the whole level destroying everything in your path, as this will reward you with health, Psyblast ammo or arrowheads, etc., and climbing skyscrapers to reach out of the way figments. I really want to play that whole level again, it was that much fun. Crushing the tiny lungfish population under my feet and throwing tanks at other tanks has nothing to do with it, honest. Whilst back in the real world, collecting buried arrowheads is worthwhile as they can be used as a currency in the camp shop to buy items such as dream fluffs, which can restore Raz's mental health, a cobweb duster used to hoover up cobwebs that can then be turned into psi cards, which you can also find around the camp, and psi cores, which when combined with 9 psi cards can increase your psi rank altogether. A good deal considering that it takes 100 figments collected during gameplay to increase your psi rank by the same amount, and the maximum psi rank is 100. Presented in a cartoony style, the game would have looked great when it released. Playing the game on a Series X, it now looks a bit ropey at times, but it's kind of understandable. This may be partly down to the 4:3 aspect ratio that the game was designed in, but at times the quality of the graphics really degrades. Strangely, the game seemed to look better the further I got into the story, and I cannot really understand why sections at the start of the game seemed to look so poor. Gameplay was more than acceptable most of the time, but when switching to a cutscene it was severely jarring on several occasions. Don't let this put you off the game though, as it does not kill its overall charm. The music ranges from a cool harmonica riff at the camp to the 1812 overture in the very French section in the mind of Fred Bonaparte, as well as an ambitiously frenetic theme during the incredibly tricky section in the Meet Big Top. When the game was originally released, it must have seemed amazing to have a score of this quality in a game of this type, and it still stands up today. I only discovered one major glitch whilst working through the campaign for around 15 hours, when I fell between 2 spans of the bridge in Lungfishopolis and was unable to extricate myself. This required me to go back to my last save, and I came unstuck for the second time in as many minutes, as with this being an old game, it does not have an autosave system. Beware of that if you decide to check the game out, as I hope you will, as I had to complete 30 minutes of gameplay for a second time. In terms of a silver lining, at least it was within my favourite level of the game. The last sections of Psychonauts are set within what is known as the Meet Big Top, and it's this part of the game that I found particularly frustrating, as not only is it made up of several boss battles, but also has a section of precision platforming that you're required to complete with the added pressure of a countdown. I was no good at this, and needless to say it got old fast, as failure to climb to the top of the tent required starting again at the beginning of the section. You forget just how difficult games used to be back in the days of old, especially when you cannot even manually save the game after a successful part of the climb. The game does let you manually save at this stage, but then breaks your heart by taking you back to the beginning when you reload it. So, is Psychonauts worth playing these days? In my opinion, it certainly is. Graphically, it's visibly aged and the saving system is archaic at best, but the game is so damn strange and well designed that it really does need to be experienced by anyone with an interest in platforming and puzzle games. The story is amusing, things are most certainly odd most of the way through, and there is not really another game out there quite like this. Psychonauts 2 is on the way and could probably be released at this year's E3, so what better time to get acquainted with this weird and wacky universe than right now? The game's recent appearance on Game Pass is the perfect reason to go and check it out. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this retro review, be sure to hit subscribe, leave a comment in the channel below, and stay tuned to XboxEra so you can be notified when we drop some fresh content. And we'll see you next time.